What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. SoCrates1 here. As you can see, we're kind of moving along, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been kind of slacking lately. I've been doing another job so I can make money to buy Pokemon cards and other stuff I want. But yeah, I have some time tonight to work on this. As you can tell, I did start doing something, and I was like, oh, I should probably stop. Yeah, like I colored that in pink. I started to hear a little pink, and I was like, bro, chill out, just stop. But yeah, so today we're gonna do a little shading of the shadowing / 3D, and we're gonna talk about like kind of the difficulties of starting a YouTube channel, because I know there's a lot of people out here that want to start a YouTube channel and they find it's just too difficult. I don't know how many of y'all are watching actually have a YouTube channel, you know. And I'm going to be real with you guys. And if you're wondering what I'm kind of using this deco color marker. I don't feel like using acrylic today. But yeah, how many of y'all have a YouTube channel? This is the first time I used this marker that's actually this size. It comes out pretty thick. Yeah, I mean, you know, let me know down in the comments if, you know, with your YouTube channel, has it been difficult for you? Like, I'll be real with you. Have I been giving enough attention to this channel? Probably not. But I know my other channel, if you haven't checked it out, it's called Socratic Rips. And I open up Pokemon cards, sports cards, One Piece cards, stuff like that, right? And I'm going to be real. There's been a lot of challenges. Obviously, the first challenge that I've noticed myself is it is very time consuming. You have to be able to actually have the time to do it. And so, for example, I started the Socratic Rip channel because I was opening up Pokemon cards, and I tell my students, like, yeah, I pulled this. And they're like, bro, you should record it, and, you know, so we can see what you're pulling, what you're doing. And I was like, okay, you know, I'll do that. But then I thought about it as I was recording, like, hey, why don't I put this on YouTube? Or TikTok, and I was like, you know what? I don't even have TikTok. You know, I talk so much shit about it. I go, you know, I might as well, right? And so that's why I started it. But when you really think about it, and you know, I knew it was going to be a little bit of time consuming, but I didn't expect how time consuming it was going to be. And what I mean by that is, like, you have to learn a lot of stuff. You know, especially if you want to become monetized. Like, for example, if you don't know how to edit film or, like, you know, recordings, whether video or audio, that's a whole new discipline you have to learn. Or you can pay somebody, but I ain't trying to pay somebody to do that. I'll learn it myself. And so for me, like, I took a lot of time to really learn it and start picking it up. And I wasn't alone in the journey, because what I recognize is I was not good at it. And if there's one thing I try to teach my students and people in life is ask for help. And I knew a student who was really good at like stuff like this. And I just asked him, like, hey bro, like, can you give me some tips, some pointers, like what program to use? And he told me he uses CapCut. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use CapCut. Why? Because I can always ask him for help or for information. And yeah, but it took time. Like, it's just not like, oh, record and just shoot. Like, there's editing, making sure your voice sounds legit. Because the reality is sometimes these microphones don't pick up. And, you know, I was talking to a guy at the camera store. So I was thinking about buying a camera. And he was like, hey, you have such a unique voice that your voice, depending on the room you're in, it's going to ping really weird, like your cadence. You have a great cadence that catches people's attention. It's very unique, but it's not always the greatest for a certain microphone. So going in and having to edit that has been like something kind of really big for me, and learning how to do that. Because there's some videos I'm like, oh man, that sounds horrible. What happened? And it's just, I just have a loud voice and a weird cadence, and yeah. But that's that one part is like, what has really saved me time is asking for help. You know, I didn't have a problem picking a niche because honestly, it's, I just picked something I was interested in, and if there's not a big crowd for it, I don't care. Whatever, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Like even this, I tease my students like, oh, I'm gonna start doing grandpa vlogging. Talking about life, just looking at a camera. And they're like, dude, that'd be awesome. The way you talk in class, do that. And I'm like, it kind of gave me some confidence, right? That these kids actually listen to me and they like listening to me. Oh my God. But one student's like, hey, I got an idea. Why don't you do that? Because you can give so much insight to life for people. But instead, talk about life while you're painting or doing something. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that, and here I am. I thought it was a phenomenal idea, and so just ran with it, and we'll see how it is, right? So I never had a problem with the niche or niche, whatever you want to call it. I know some people are, especially if you're just looking to make money. But for me, I just felt like that was not an authentic way of going about it. Like, because, if you're just doing it for money, do you have the passion in it? When it's time and you're tired and your day is hard, are you going to be able to push through and say, okay, I'm going to make a video today? Like if you go onto my Pokemon, my card ripping channel, Socratic Rips, you'll see there's videos every single day. Sometimes 3 to 5 videos a day. And where some people are like, bro, slow down. You're going to burn yourself out. And that's just not the way I work. Like me, I'm all in. You might say, hey, you're obsessed. And the reality is, you may be right. But I think there's a difference between being obsessed in a negative format or being in a positive format. Like, is it helping me out? Yes. Am I being a jerk to somebody? No. And that's just the type of person I am. If I want something, I go get it. And, for example, like I was explaining to my wife, I was like, I think about this stuff. I, dream about it. I'm always watching videos about, like, how do I improve something? Because the weird part about me is, and I know my brother, this one thing he doesn't like about me is growing up, I've always been good or mediocre at something. I've never been really bad. At least that he knows, right? I know what I'm bad at. But I will say it straight out. If I'm bad at something, or like it takes a lot of skill, those are the things that attract me. Like, for example, art. I'm not naturally talented at art. And I say this to my students and they get pissed off. They're like, yeah, you are. I am not. I am not naturally talented at art. It takes me time, man. Like, some people just can just whip out a sketchbook and pump some great ideas out. That's just not me. And I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm not super talented. Art is something I was dog shit at when I first started at like graffiti. And I just kept working at it, kept improving, and just pushing myself, practicing. I was sitting in front of my TV, watching anime for like 8 to 12 hours, just sketching away, dog shit after dog shit. Like, it was rough. If I had some of those old sketches, I would show you, but hey, the cops took them and never gave them back when they raided my house. But I was bad. And it took me time to become good. And, and that's something, people may say, well, damn, Sam, you were obsessed at that. You're right. I was obsessed. But the outcome was positive. I wasn't hurting myself, per se, right? And so, same with YouTube and TikTok. If you're doing it and you want to maybe make money, you have to be a little bit obsessed. You got to keep thinking about, how am I going to get better at this? How am I going to improve? What skills do I need to grow? And so for me, I knew my editing was not good. And so I really started focusing on that. And like this channel, I don't have to edit too much. But like on the Pokemon one, I'm really editing my voice. I'm really, kind of like changing the color, adding text on the screen. So there's a lot more work. And I have some ideas where I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to really bump my editing skills up. Like I have a great video that I want to do. But the reality is, skill-wise, I'm almost there, and I'm going to make it happen. It's going to be pretty funny, and I know definitely the people who know me are going to be like, wow, that's hilarious. But it has its difficult moments. And so especially if you're trying to make it, to a high level, of a high YouTube level where you're making money, these are certain core skills you have to improve on, and you have to be super dedicated. Not everybody gets lucky and all of a sudden people just start following them. I started both these YouTube channels and TikToks at the hardest time of the year. The summertime, going into early fall, is the hardest time to start a YouTube TikTok channel. Why? Because people are outside doing stuff. People don't want to watch somebody doing art. People don't really want to watch someone ripping Pokemon cards. That's sort of fall, winter, early spring. And so, because people are in their house more often. And so, yeah, did I start at a rough time? Of course I did. But you know what? I don't care. I'll get the bad content out the way first, and they won't maybe not notice it. Yes. But yeah, I mean that's part of growing, right? Is learning to find your passion, but also be disciplined just to get shit done. Like every single day. If my wife was here right now, she would tell you, like, my husband, he is always, sitting on by the table, sitting at his desk, sitting at, on the couch, watching anime, just editing something, looking at something. Like he's a machine, and that's the way I roll. And that's something I hope that people can see and learn from me. Because that's hard, just like Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. I see people say Mamba mentality, but when the time gets tough, they don't want to do the fucking work. You got to do the fucking work. You can't be soft like Charmin. You just got to do that shit. And I feel like when that's the mentality I have, when I'm super interested in something, I am going to go knock it out the park. I'm going to get that shit done. And if people get in my way, fuck you. I'm just going to push through people. I don't care. I tell people all the time, you get in my way, and if I'm in that mindset, I'm running you over. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna push through this, and I'm gonna accomplish my goals. And if you're in my way, you might be a casualty of it. Not trying to be a dick about it, but that's just my mindset. I want to be the best at something, and I push myself through it. And I hope that people can see that, like, you have to be a little delusional. You have to have a little bit of, be obsessed a little bit. Obviously in a positive way, because if it starts hurting me, then it becomes bad. There's a lady, when I was during my communion, because I did my communion later in life because I wanted to be the godfather of my nephew, Sister Ellen Jean, and she had said to me, do you think gambling is actually a sin? And I was like, yeah, it says something like that, right? And she's like, no. It's only a sin if it starts to truly affect your family and other people around you. And that stuck in my head. I was like, wow, really? And I think she's right, Like if my YouTubing and stuff like that, if it starts affecting my family where, I don't want to hang out with my wife or do anything with her, like go out on dates, and I just want to stay at home and keep practicing and doing this stuff. And guess what? Now it's affecting her. Now it's affecting my family. And so with that, then it becomes that obsession has crossed that boundary. And so I make sure not to cross that boundary. I keep it in check. And I think as I got older, I've learned to do that. Whereas like when I was younger and I was losing weight, Yeah, because I went from 425 to 265 in a year. Yeah, that obsession was, it was not always under check, you know. But YouTube can be difficult. There's so many things that are going to block you. Like, you know, and I think the first one is just the dedication, understanding how long it's going to take you to do. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that time commitment. So obviously that's option one, you know, and I think people don't realize that sometimes it's going to be slow, that you're not going to grow instantaneously. You're not going to become viral overnight, right? I mean, think about those people that became viral. And within a year, they're not monetized anymore because they couldn't repeat it. So that's another part, is like understanding that, you know, that it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be slow, and sometimes it's a snail pace. It's like the turtle, you know, versus the hare. Sometimes you're gonna go slow, and sometimes you gotta go slow, and you're gonna win at the end. Because not everybody on YouTube blew up overnight. You know, obviously some people may have. But the other one is, you know, learning the rules, right? Understanding, because, you know, and I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, y'all just making excuses to people who are already monetized. You know, when we talk about the algorithm, because the reality is YouTube does favor larger channels. They don't favor smaller channels. And I think the bigger channels, they try to BS and act like, you know, that it's the same for us, and it's not. I think that they're fucking delusional, because if I was the YouTube, you know, I'm going to want to put those people who are known first, right? Because it's consistency. They're consistent, and people come back and watch, aka ad revenue. It's not rocket science. Or a small channel ain't going to get the same level of ad revenue. And so there's a lot to say about that. And to understand the algorithm, knowing that, yes, they're trying to push you, but it's also trying to have that balance to make money. And I think people forget that element right there. Money is important. But, you know, also it's like running out of ideas. Like, and I even think to myself, like, even a youth, like doing Pokemon cards, like it's you never know what you're going to get, right? That's the bonus there. But if you're trying to talk about the card, talking about things, you can run out of ideas really quick. At least I think. But I don't know. It's been pretty good. You know, I'll be honest. I only have a 161 subscribers on YouTube for that. And here I only have 18 on YouTube. And TikTok, I'm running like 48 for this channel and like 150 for my other channel. So I'm doing well. You know, obviously it's not where I want to be. But, and the other component is, you know, dealing with buying stuff, right? Like you have to buy lights, you have to buy a mic, you have to, you know, buy editing software. And I know some people are going to try to be like, oh, I can find free software. Yeah, you can. But realistically, CapCut Pro is better than CapCut. You know, buying Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, those programs, they're worth it. And look at it from the perspective is I'm investing in myself. Like I have my Blue Yeti mic here, and I just invested in a DJI Mic Mini, and I don't know if I'm going to keep it yet. So I'm still messing with it, but you have to invest in yourself. Like the lights I have, I invest in. Do I want to invest in more lights? Of course I do. Because I'm in a basement. I don't have natural light down here. But that's an investment. And it's making sure that you're not overdoing it and buying so much stuff that you're putting on your credit card and you're hurting your credit. You're hurting your future. Don't do that. So that's another part. And I find the other element is the naysayers. Like, there are a lot of people who are going to tell you, you're stupid, you shouldn't be doing this, you suck, this and that. And I'm lucky. I'll be real with you. I'm very lucky. I'm a child of the 90s. I came from a rough neighborhood, and there's not much that can hurt me anymore, to be very honest with you. So I really don't give a fuck what people think about me. But, you know, I think it hurts a little bit more when your family says it. They call you stupid or something, and yeah. But again, that's that part of that obsession. You learn to not give a fuck what people think about you. I don't care if people think me doing TikTok videos or YouTube videos on Pokemon cards. They can go fuck off. I don't give a shit. You know, or if people telling me, oh, you're talking and while you're doing art, that's so stupid. Well, fuck you, don't watch. That's my mindset. You know, I take into account what people say, and I ask myself, where's it coming from? Is it coming from a place of bullshit, being a hater? Just whoop, delete that out of my head. If it's coming from a place of good feedback, I will listen to it. I'll take it into account, analyze what I'm doing, and then I'll make the changes if I need to. Like, there's some people I know who watch this. You know, they're my students. If they came up to me tomorrow and they're like, hey, your Socratic Life channel, it kind of sucks. I trust them enough to say, oh, really? What do you think I can do better about it? But just knowing, like, you're going to get a lot of naysayers when you're trying to do something that other people are afraid to do. You will be amazed when you're doing something other people wish they could do. They're going to shit talk you. They're going to down talk you. They're going to act like it's the worst thing in the world. Because at the end of the day, they don't want you to succeed, because if you succeed, well, why couldn't they? Then they may have to admit that you are better than them at something. And that is a hard pill to swallow for people. That they may suck at something and you may be better than them at it. Not better as a human, but better at that skill or talent. And trust me, guys, I have encountered this in my life a lot of times. I have a 33 on my ACT, great grades at UW-Madison, and people still treat me like I'm an idiot. Don't know why, but that's just the way it is. When you're better at something than somebody, people don't like it. They feel threatened, and when they feel threatened from things that they don't understand, they're going to attack you verbally. Majority of the time, they're going to attack your character. And you have to learn to be like, well, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. Moving on in my life. You're not going to break me. And that's my mindset. It's like, you are not going to break me as a person. Because, and I know some people think they can. And me, I'm like, go for it. What are you going to do? Because what you can do to me is not the same as what I can do to you. I have a mindset that's been shaped through the hard life I've been through, the horrible things I've seen, being locked in prison, being put in solitary confinement. You're not going to fucking break me. You're just not. Because that's the way I'm built. And so, I guess if I tell you, like, when you're working on your YouTube channel, you may have not gone through all the same things that helped shape me, but you can grow your channel, and through that process, you're going to see people tell you that you suck. Just take it into account and ask yourself, okay, can I do better than this? Because if you don't do that, and you do maybe suck at something, you're never going to grow. But if you're good at something and they're just telling you, people want to break you down. And so I say, find people that you trust, that are going to help you, that you know that if they give you feedback, they're not BSing you. Like my student, I'm not going to say his name, great at film, great at editing, dude's phenomenal. If he told me, hey, you suck at this, or hey, you should do this to do that better, I'm going to take that into account. Like the other day, he gave me some information. He's like, hey, I saw this person on YouTube. you do kind of look like him a little bit. And you guys talk very similar. He's like, maybe you should expand talking about different things as well. You know, about different elements of the news, life. And I was like, shit. Yeah, you're right. I do want to do that. However, my wife doesn't want me to do that. But he gives me good feedback. And I trust him to give me that feedback. And so I think that's going to be important is finding those people that are going to help you out and help you grow into the content creator that you want to be. And give it a shot. You know, what do you have to lose? Ooh, somebody's going to laugh at you because your voice sounds horrible online. Well, fuck them. They don't have to listen, right? Ooh, someone's going to criticize you because your face or something. Fuck them. They don't look. They can turn around. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to say this to men. Guys, quit acting like you are ugly. There's 8 billion people in the world. At least a few million people think you're attractive. Chill. Same women, same thing. Chill. You're not bad looking. You're not ugly. You have value. Even if you were the ugliest person in the world, you still have value in who you are as an individual. Share it. And so, share your expertise, your knowledge. Somebody would greatly appreciate it. Like literally, my brother made a video years ago about how to do a move in Smash Brothers. When, I forgot what Smash Brothers game it was. It was when YouTube was early on. Bro, he got so many views on it. And it was like literally down A or some shit. I'm like, dude, what the hell? People will value it. And I think for me, that's what helps me, right? Is that some people are gonna think my art is trash. Some people are gonna think, oh, the way you go through the process of doing your art is trash. And they may be right. They might be right that my process is trash. But at the end of the day, cool. Maybe tell me in the comments why you think it is trash. How can I improve it? Because I would be interested to hear it. But if you can't do that, then you're just coming off like a hater. And even if you give me good information, that doesn't mean I have to change. So I think that's to me, that's a big one. It's like starting a YouTube channel, it's difficult. And for all those small creators out there, keep doing you, man. If you don't get views all the time, it's not a knock on you as a person. You know, sometimes there's skills that we can improve, but also take the time to recognize it's not just you. There's other elements out there, and all you can keep doing is improving your skills, your talents, and growing, right? And eventually, you're gonna connect. I mean, do we all think that Mr. Beast was making all this money, all these videos, right off the bat? No, man, he was not. He probably was dog shit. I used to watch Marquise Brownlee. Fuck, love that dude. I watched some of his earlier videos, and I was like, okay, they weren't the greatest, but he provided information like on Samsung curved TVs. Like, they weren't the greatest, but the knowledge he gave, his expertise, I was like, okay. I mean, he was a teenager. I was a grown adult already. And I saw the value in that, and I've been subscribed to him since he was a teenager. And so, your videos are not always going to be the greatest. You're not going to start out like super god tier. It takes time. And even there's people that make great video, that are high, subscriber count, high views. They don't always make god tier videos, but people connect to who they are as individuals. And so that's what I try to do. I try to connect with individuals, and I know as this channel goes on, I'm going to definitely talk more like stories and stuff like that, because I have so many stories. I'm definitely going to keep names out because I don't want friends to get pissed off at me and they're like, bro, why did you tell our business like that? And for me, this is also kind of a jump off point. And what I mean by that is, it is expected of me to write a book about graffiti. for like the Midwest. Like all my friends, people from other crews are like, dude, you should write a book, because they know I'm a history major, I'm a teacher. I'm like, I guess I'll think about it. Takes a lot of work, so maybe eventually I can kind of start doing like interviews as well on here for like that, and just talk to different people about their experiences, and you know, for like the Midwest. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, as of right now, I'm gonna wait for this to dry, because the paint I use, and I'll be real with you guys, I use different types of paint. You know, for example, right now I'm using acrylic, paint marker acrylic with brush. The black is oil. I like that. I like the deco color marker, because I like my black to shine sometimes. It depends. Like when I'm doing graffiti, I don't like my black to always shine. I'm more of the ultra flat Krylon before they took away where you can change your tip. Fuck them. That pisses me off. But that paint, I love that as my outline. And plus, I love the smell. That smells phenomenal for that paint. And I don't know why, but it just smells great. But I like it on canvas. I like the black to just boom, shine in your face. That's just me. Everybody's a little different. But yeah, let me know what you think. Like, how do you think this process is going so far? If you have any questions or things you want me to talk about, bro, put them in a comment. You know, it's just like I tell my students. If you want to talk about something, let me know. We can talk about it. And I would really appreciate it. And hopefully at one point in this channel that we can start doing live streams where people are actually telling me, hey, asking questions right off the fly, right? Because I'm really interested into it. But let me know. So next time I do a video, I'm going to actually probably do a little quick touch up here and there. I might actually do that off camera, like the little touch up of the blue. Make sure it's like a little, like the lines are a little cleaner. You know, and I'm one of those people, I don't give a crap when people think like, oh, your line's not super crisp. Why didn't you use a ruler or tape? I'm like, dude, when I did graffiti, I didn't do tape or anything like that. I winged it, right? And if it came out good, it came out dope, right? But, so that's just me. I'll probably clean it up a little bit. And probably do the outline, the pink outline. Probably touch up the blue here a little bit more. And then I'm going to take some Pokemon cards. I do not have any here. There we go. I have some extra here. These ain't the ones, but I'm just going to like, boom, glue them here. Make sure they're nice and glued down. You know, obviously just like bang, right? You're just going to have them all over the place. And just kind of glued in spots and, you know, glued down. And then I'm going to take some spray paint and kind of do little designs over them. But that's where I will use tape to not make sure I don't get any paint on this stuff. But hey. So again, let me know down in the comments. What do you think how this process is going so far? You know, do you really like what I'm doing, what I'm talking about? I would really appreciate that. With that said, this is Socrates 1. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.